Most people know the Buddha. Few know the first human who truly understood him.
Today, we uncover the life of Aññā Kondañña, the very first disciple to awaken after the Buddha. His story isn't just history, it's proof that the Dhamma works.
A Brahmin born near the Buddha's home, according to the Manoratha Puranian Paramattha commentaries. Kondañña was born in Dhammacakkappavattana, a Brahmin village near Kapilavatthu, the same region where Prince Siddhartha grew up.
He was the son of Mahasala, a wealthy Brahmin. From youth, he mastered the 3 Vedas and Nara Lakkhana, the ancient art of reading destiny through physical signs. This skill would soon change everything.
The prediction that changed history: when the Bodhisatta was born, King Isipatana invited 108 Brahmins. Only 8 were chosen to examine the newborn prince, including young Kondañña.
7 raised 2 fingers. He may become a king or a Buddha, but Kondañña, he raised only 1. He will renounce the world, he declared. There is no doubt. Why? Because his punna, his wholesome deeds over countless lifetimes, had ripened. He saw what others could not.
The group of 5 forms years later. When Prince Siddhartha went forth, Kondañña remembered that prophecy. He gathered the sons of the other 7 Brahmins, Vapa, Badiya, Mahanama, and Asaji. Together they became the Pancavajjiya, the group of 5.
For 6 years they followed the Bodhisatta through forests and villages, practicing extreme austerity, believing suffering would bring awakening. But when the Bodhisatta stopped fasting, choosing balance instead, they misunderstood. He's given up, they thought, and they left him, heading to Isipatana Deer Park.
The first turning of the wheel, after attaining perfect enlightenment under the Bodhi tree, the Buddha considered, who should hear this Dhamma first? His former teacher passed away, so he turned to the 5 ascetics, especially Kondañña, whose aspiration dated back to the time of Buddha Padumuttara.
On the full moon of Asaha, the day we now honor as Asaha Puja, the Buddha walked to Isipatana. At first the 5 refused to bow, but when he spoke, their hearts softened. And as he taught the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta, the 4 noble truths, the middle way only one truly saw.
Aññā Kondañña. At the end of the discourse, Kondañña realized whatever is subject to arising is also subject to cessation. This was the Dhammacakkappavattana, the eye of Dhamma. He became the first Sotapanna, a stream enterer free from rebirth in lower realms.
The Buddha smiled and said, Aññā Kondañña. Indeed, Kondañña has known. From that moment, he was no longer just Kondañña. He was Aññā Kondañña, Kondañña who has known.
The birth of the Saṅgha. Then came the first ordination in Buddhist history.
The Buddha simply said, Ihi bhikkhu, svakato dhammo, karabrahmakaryam samma paripunna karaniya. Come monk, the Dhamma is well proclaimed. Live the holy life for the complete ending of suffering. With those words, the Saṅgha jewel was born. And Aññā Kondañña became the first bhikkhu, the living proof that the path works.
Final years, solitude with an elephant friend. Later, Aññā Kondañña asked the Buddha for permission to live alone in the deep forest near Chidanta Lake, in the Himalayas.
There, a 6-tusked elephant named Chidanta became his devoted attendant, fetching water, clearing paths, guarding his peace. Even in solitude, his punna attracted protection and grace. The Buddha later declared him a Tathagata, foremost among the senior disciples, not for miracles, not for fame, but because he was the first to see, the first to know, and the first to follow. His life reminds us, awakening isn't reserved for gods or legends. It begins with one person who dares to see the truth. In the quiet of Chidanta Lake, far from villages and crowds, one elder sat in perfect stillness, yet his Dhamma reached even the heavens. This was Aññā Kondañña, the first disciple to awaken after the Buddha. And his wisdom didn't just change human lives, it moved the king of the Devas himself.
Saṅgha comes to listen. According to ancient narrative accounts, Saṅgha, the ruler of the Deva realms, once descended from Tavatimsa heaven to hear Aññā Kondañña teach.
Imagine, the most powerful celestial being, surrounded by light and glory. Yet he came humbly as a student. After listening, Saṅgha praised him in verse, Asa bhikkhu pasida mi bahuni me rasamdama, viragadvama maya sunita. This monk, I have great faith in him. I've heard many dhammas from him, rich in flavor, leading to dispassion. He clings to nothing whatsoever. Then he bowed and returned to his heavenly abode, carrying not wealth, but Dhamma.
The wind of wrong thoughts settled by rain. Aññā Kondañña often reflected on how ordinary minds get trapped, not by fate, but by micca vitaka, wrong thoughts rooted in greed, hatred, and delusion.
He saw how these thoughts swirl like dust in dry wind, captivating, distracting, endless. But then he remembered the Buddha's teaching, and in that moment, his own mind stilled. He spoke 2 verses that still echo through time. Countless are the minds in the world, diverse, delightful, enticing, yet all such thoughts arise dependent on lust. But when one sees with wisdom, all thoughts subside completely, just as rain settles the dust stirred up by wind. Wisdom, he showed, isn't about fighting thoughts, it's about seeing through them.
The one who awakened following the Buddha, later Aññā Kondañña declared his own attainment, not out of pride but as a witness to truth.
He said, the elder who awakened following the Buddha, Kondañña by name, of great renown, endowed with energy, has utterly destroyed birth and death and fulfilled the holy life. And then, with unshakable freedom, he has crossed the flood, shattered the mountain of delusion. This fearless Kondañña gone beyond, freed from Mara's bonds. These weren't just words, they were the voice of one who had finished the work.
A warning to a wayward student. Once using psychic power, Aññā Kondañña appeared before a former student who had grown lazy chasing comfort, ignoring discipline, acting more like a layperson than a monk.
He urged him, abandon bad friends, seek only good companions, practice the true way of a samana. But the bhikkhu refused, so the elder composed a stark contrast in verse. A restless, fickle bhikkhu associating with bad friends is swept away by waves, overwhelmed by the great flood of defilements. But the wise bhikkhu, calm, diligent, well-restrained with good friends, brings about the end of suffering. He didn't scold. He painted 2 paths and left the choice open.
The one await only final release in his final reflections. Aññā Kondañña expressed total peace, free from craving for life or fear of death.
He said, I do not rejoice in life nor fear death. I await only the time of final release, like a hired laborer awaiting sunset. My teacher is the Buddha. I have fulfilled the Buddha's dispensation. The burden is laid down. Craving is exhausted, and with gentle clarity, the son of a good family goes forth seeking benefit. That benefit I have attained. What need have I of a mere junior companion? He wasn't rejecting others, he was simply complete.
Homage at Velavana, feet of the Buddha. At Velavana Monastery in Rajagaha, Aññā Kondañña once approached the Buddha. He bowed, kissed the Blessed One's feet, and gently massaged them with both hands, a gesture of ultimate reverence.
Then, so no one would mistake him, he announced 3 times, Venerable Sir, I am Kondañña. At that moment, Vajrathara rose and asked the Buddha's permission to praise him publicly. With consent granted, he declared before the entire Saṅgha, this Aññā Kondañña takes no delight in gain, honor, or fame. He awakened by following the teacher's instruction. He finds joy only in seclusion. Whatever attainments noble disciples seek, he has realized them fully, in order. He masters the threefold knowledge, Tavija, and is a true recipient of the Buddha's highest approval. This wasn't personal praise, it was a formal recognition, like a royal seal on a sacred truth.
The Buddha's final declaration. Later, at Jetavana Monastery near Savatthi,
the Buddha gathered the Saṅgha and made an eternal proclamation. Ratanyunam yadidam Aññā Kondañña is foremost among my disciples in seniority, the one who has known the long night of samsara. As the Tadagata Attistakatha explains, knowing the long night means 2 things. 1. He was the first to ordain under the Buddha. 2. He was the first human to attain stream entry after the Buddha's enlightenment. This title, a Tadaga, is unchangeable, not earned by favor, but by parami perfected over 100,000 aeons.
The aspiration that began it all, that aspiration began long ago in the time of Padamuttara Buddha. In the city of Hamsavati, a wealthy householder named Mahasala witnessed Padamuttara appoint a disciple as foremost in knowing the long night.
Moved, he thought, may I too be the first to realize Dhamma under a future Buddha. For 7 days he offered lavish alms. On the 7th he presented fine robes and made his vow. Padamuttara Buddha smiled and prophesied, in 100,000 aeons, under Gautama Buddha, you will be the first to attain stream entry along with 180 million Brahma beings. Even earlier, 91 aeons back, during Vipassi Buddha's time, he was Mahakala, a merchant who offered milky rice porridge so generously that his field regenerated miraculously. 9 times he gave, dedicating every act of punna toward one goal, to be first in the next Buddha's dispensation. And so on the full moon of Asala, beneath the deer hoof-marked earth of Isipatana, the vow came true. Kondañña became Aññā Kondañña, the first to know, the first to follow, the first proof that the path leads home. His life reminds us, greatness in Dhamma isn't about miracles or fame, it's about seeing clearly, and never turning back. And if even Sakka bows to such a one, what greater honor could there be. Greatness in the Dhamma is never sudden. It is grown grain by grain, life by life, through acts of faith no one sees, but the truth remembers. Long before he became Aññā Kondañña, the first disciple of Gautama Buddha, he was already walking the path in the time of Vipassī Buddha, 91 aeons ago.
When the king tried to own the triple gem after Vipassī Buddha's enlightenment, King Bandhumati, his own father, declared, "The Buddha is mine. The Dhamma is mine. The Saṅgha is mine." For 7 years and 7 months he barred all citizens from offering dana, hearing teachings, or even seeing the Buddha.
The people suffered not from hunger, but from spiritual starvation. They gathered and said, "A Buddha arises for all beings, not just one king." Led by the commander-in-chief, they threatened revolt. Cornered, the king bargained down from years to months to just 7 days of exclusive offering. And on the 8th day, the gates opened. The Dhamma returned to the people.
Mahakala's milky rice offering. It was then that Mahakala, the future Aññā Kondañña, stepped forward. A wealthy merchant in Ramagama, he decided to offer something rare, yago milk rice porridge made from unripe milky rice stalks still full of sap.
His younger brother, Kalakala, panicked. "You'll ruin the whole harvest." So they divided their fields 8 karisa each and went their separate ways. Mahakala harvested the green stalks, and by the power of his punna, the field regenerated instantly fresh, full, untouched. But he didn't stop there. Over 1 cultivation cycle, he offered 9 times at threshing, winnowing, bundling, storing. Each time he whispered the same aspiration: "May I be the first to realize the supreme Dhamma in the dispensation of a future Buddha."
From field to final awakening, that single act of dana rooted in faith, not pride, became a seed. After death, Mahakala cycled between human and deva realms for 91 aeons, purifying his mind, maturing his perfections, parami, always moving toward one moment, the full moon of Asala, Isipatana, Deer Park, the Buddha's first words.
And when the wheel of Dhamma turned, it was his heart that first understood, not because he was clever, but because he had spent lifetimes preparing to listen.
Celestial alms in his final life and his last birth, Aññā Kondañña dwelled alone at Chadanta Lake, yet he was never without care. Each day a deva named Nagadatta, from a mansion atop Mount Kailasa, offered him madhupayasa, honey rice pudding mixed with fresh honey.
Why such grace? Because long ago, during the time of Kassapa Buddha, he had offered milk rice porridge for 80,000 years. That ocean of punna ripened as daily celestial nourishment in his final life. Even solitude for the wise is filled with blessings.
The final request. When his time neared, Aññā Kondañña returned to Velovana Monastery. Before the fourfold Saṅgha, he bowed and said, "Venerable Lord, my lifespan has ended. Please grant me permission to enter Parinibbana."
The Buddha asked, "Where will you pass away?" He replied, "Among the elephants at Chadanta Lake. They served me with unmatched kindness. Let my last breath be among them." The Buddha gave his blessing. Then Aññā Kondañña said softly, "This vision of you, Lord, is my final seeing. I shall not behold you again."
Last words to a grieving crowd. As crowds followed him weeping, he turned and gave his final teaching.
"Do not sorrow, friends. All conditioned things are impermanent. This is certain. Not even the Buddha or his disciples escape dissolution. Therefore, strive diligently. Fulfill the Dhamma of heedfulness, apamada." Then he rose into the air and flew back to the Himalayas.
Parinibbana. At dawn by Chadanta Lake he bathed, arranged his robes, and entered Nirodha Samapatti, the attainment of cessation. There he relinquished the 5 aggregates and entered final release.
His funeral was unlike any other. 500 arahants attended. Countless devas descended. The elephant herd stood in silent reverence. The divine architect Vishwakarma manifested a funeral pavilion, 9 yojanas high, shaped like a silver lotus. After cremation, the relics were brought to the Buddha. As he placed them on the earth, a silver lotus stupa arose spontaneously. With his own hands, the Buddha enshrined the relics of his first disciple, the one who first saw the truth. And the elephants, they too were reborn in Shugati Bhumi, the blissful realms, carried by the kama of their devotion. Aññā Kondañña's life teaches us, punna, guided by aspiration, spans lifetimes. True discipleship begins not with speech, but with seeing. Aññā, and the highest honor, being first to awaken, is earned not by birth, but by countless acts of generosity, patience, and faith. So the next time you offer dana, bow in reverence, or simply listen with an open heart, remember, you too may be planting seeds for a future awakening. Sabbasatta bhavantu sukhitata. May all beings be happy.